My name is Maxine Henry-clarke, and this inquiry presentation is on how implementing the game-based learning tool Kahoot in a business class can help students achieve greater success. The context for my inquiry project is centered around a 10th grade business class pursuing the course of Principles of Business in Kingston, Jamaica. The class consists of 30 students, of which 20 participated in the study. In this context, I am the business instructor implementing strategies for increasing students' performance, engagement, and test scores. My inquiry focused on addressing the problem of engagement and motivation and increasing test scores among high school students, particularly in business studies. Observations conducted by fellow teachers and myself in the business department revealed a noticeable decline in student engagement and passion for the subject. Motivation by this concern, I sought to explore the potential influence of gamification, specifically through the incorporation of Kahoot on student engagement, motivation, and test scores. The objective was to determine whether integrating Kahoot into the classroom would positively impact these key factors to revitalize student interest and performance in business studies. My colleagues and I have observed a noticeable decline in our students' interest and enthusiasm for business subjects and a concerning decrease in their test scores. The passing grade is 60%. We are deeply concerned that if this trend continues, students may struggle to succeed in the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate (CSEC) examination, which marks the culmination of their standard secondary education. I propose implementing the game-based tool Kahoot into our curriculum to address this issue. I believe that integrating Kahoot has the potential to significantly enhance student motivation, thereby creating more engaging, inspiring, and enjoyable classes. Research highlights the negative impact of low motivation on learning outcomes and classroom dynamics, underscoring the urgency of addressing this issue. The emergence of new generation, often referred to as the net generation, digital natives of millennials, has fundamentally transformed educational approaches. These younger demographics exhibit characteristics such as impatience with linear thinking, a preference for immediate access and incentives, and a capacity for innovative multitasking. This could lead to a discrepancy between the expectations and preferences of students powered by technology. In addition to integrating Kahoot, my strategy involves exploring alternative gaming solutions in the future to enrich the learning experience further. Gamers are renowned for their high energy levels and interest retention even after extended periods of gameplay. This highlights the potential of gamification to create a dynamic and immersive learning environment aligned with students' interests and preferences. For my inquiry, I aim to answer the following questions. Can the implementation of the game-based learning tool Kahoot impact the creation of an engaging and motivating learning environment for students? Can the integration of Kahoot in classroom instruction lead to improved academic performance as measured by my students' grades? Using field notes and observation was my initial method of gathering data for analysis. Field notes summarize my observation made during the entire undertaking. I started the observation process by documenting the students' activities in the classroom. Initially, I started out observing grade 10-4 and grade 10-5. However, with time constraints and frequent absenteeism from 10-5, I decided just to focus on grade 10-4. This data was obtained essential insights into the dynamics of student interaction, along with their degrees of participation and detectable variation over time, were to be obtained from these field notes. I attentively took notes while paying close attention to the grade 10-4 pupils, documenting every aspect of their interactions and behavior in class. I administered Principal of Business mini tests to the group, enabling me to measure their performance and compare the two teaching methods. Because test goals are goal-oriented and purpose-driven, their effectiveness depends on how well instructional activities are carried out. This could be the reason behind the opinion that tests, such as evaluations, are objectively driven in the educational setting. The mini test will help me answer whether the integration of Kahoot in classroom instruction leads to improved academic performance as measured by student grades. The pre and post survey were given to students to see their change in perception once Kahoot was added to their weekly lesson. The pre-survey answers the questions of their current perception of game-based learning on class engagement and motivation. In the post-survey, students were asked slightly differently. The second question is to gather feedback from students aiming to obtain a comprehensive understanding of the effects of the Kahoot implementation. These surveys were designed to evaluate the effectiveness of the Kahoot strategies utilized in the classroom and to gauge student perception of these methods. Additionally, Google Forms served as a data collection tool, providing students with 15 pre- and post-survey questions, simplifying the response process and ensuring comprehensive feedback. The field notes from the observations will be the first type of qualitative data I examine. to prioritize thematic analysis to identify recurring themes, patterns, and noteworthy discoveries to get deeper insights into the students' motivation and engagement. By using this analysis, I will determine the motivation and involvement of the students, as well as identify any potential causes of off-task behavior. The analysis aims to understand the dynamics of the class, participant interactions, and the effectiveness of the instructional tactics being employed. To assess student performance and compare the two teaching approaches, I administered a mini test on business principles to the group before and after the 3-week implementation period. Next, I computed the percentage change in the average scores. This enabled me to compare average score increase and assess whether students' performance had increased or decreased during the inquiry period. This allowed me to determine how Kahoot methods affected student results. The post and pre-test survey provided a critical insight into the students' perception of Kahoot. This quantitative analysis allowed students to rank their answers like a Likert scale. The results were compared from the pre-survey and the post-survey to find the significance or noticeable changes in the data. Using the post-survey, I gathered the opinions and comments of the students regarding their experiences using Kahoot. This qualitative data sheds light on the students' perception and experience with the game-based learning environment. Field notes serve as a medium for presenting events about things that may have been observed, like people, places, and events. Field notes from my observations revealed several noteworthy instances of off-task behavior, and a considerable number of pupils were seen to be distracted by their phones. Some of these distractions were texting, using social media, and using the other phone-related apps. It was common to find students involved in activities unrelated to the subject matter or the class. These activities included personal talks with peers and aimless laptop or tablet browsing. Students were frequently absent from class or arrived late, which was a noticeable tendency. There have been instances of students daydreaming or gazing off into space in class. The results of this observational investigation highlight how frequently distractions affect students' participation in class and academic performance. Following the implementation of Kahoot, most students saw an increase in their grades. The grade percentage change varies between negative 1.89% and 60.98%. 2 students saw no change in their grades after the implementation, while 1 had a reduction. Across all students, the average percentage change in grades is about 19.86%. 89% of students' grades have improved due to the implementation of Kahoot. Upon comparing the pre and post survey, identified the following. When game-based learning was introduced, 95% of students expected it to improve student engagement and enjoyment. Nonetheless, 97% of students reported that Kahoot sessions were engaging and fun when implemented. 90% of students admitted that there was a link between their academic success and class participation prior to Kahoot. Following the Kahoot sessions, 89% of participants said that they felt successful. At first, every respondent thought that adding gamification components would improve students' desire to participate in class and improve their test scores. However, only 89% of scores increased.